Hey guys, I'm Nick and welcome back to the channel. Well, we're going to have a bit of a chat today about the upcoming Season 3 of Star Trek Lower Decks. I've got Eric from WDIM YouTube channel back along with me. How you going, Eric?
How's it going, Nick?
Good. So we've got Season 3 of Lower Decks coming up very, very soon, August 25th. We've obviously had the trailer come out and a few little visual bits and pieces come out about the upcoming season. What are you most excited to see in terms of what they've hinted at for our third season of Lower Decks?
I'm most excited about how they are going to be integrated into Strange New Worlds. I'm sure you heard about that too,
yes.
where two characters, and that's a Strange New Worlds episode, right? That's not a Lower Decks episode.
Well, my understanding is it is going to be a crossover. In that Comic-Con video, Anson Mount said that he is a very buff 2D Captain Pike, which implies...
Oh, snap. Awesome.
So what we're going to get is, I reckon what's going to potentially happen, they're going to have like part 1 on Lower Decks, and something happens to Boimler and Mariner, and they get swept back in time to Pike's Enterprise, and we get kind of part 1 of the episode in Lower Decks, and then part 2 in Strange New Worlds. So that would be my assumption, because they've said that they're doing both live action with, obviously, you know, Boimler and Mariner in live action, but they're also doing some of the Strange New Worlds crew in 2D for Lower Decks.
Well, that's awesome. That means it's got to be the season finale then, because if that's going to lead into a Strange New Worlds episode, I'm guessing that's all. Yeah, and that's definitely what I'm looking forward to. I think that's going to be amazing. I actually proposed that idea in an episode like 6 months, in a video I did 6 months ago or something, that I thought it would be awesome to have. Because, you know, Jack Quaid and Tawny Newsome, who voice those characters, they're established actors.
Absolutely,
for their own right. So, so it makes total sense.
Obviously, seeing, you know, with Jack Quaid in The Boys, or Tawny Newsome in Space Force, I've often thought, the actors look close enough to their 2D counterparts in Lower Decks to be able to effectively pull them off in live action. So, yeah, bring it on, I say.
They cosplayed as them. I don't remember what for. It was for some convention. I mean, Jack Quaid, all he did was he put a big
pink wig on,
wig thing on. They basically look very similar to their characters anyway, like you said. So, I'm really looking forward to that. I love Lower Decks. I mean, I probably like Strange New Worlds a little bit more, just having sit with it for a little bit now. That's been off for a few weeks. I really like that first season, but I really like Lower Decks as well. So I'm looking forward to it. I saw already in the preview, there's a lot of references coming up, and you know, I love looking for those references. I can't wait.
I think seeing them go to DS9 is going to be a real big highlight for the season. I think DS9 and Enterprise tend to be the sort of the forgotten children of Star Trek. I think they get the least amount of love when it comes to references. So I think if we've got a whole episode where the Cerritos goes to DS9, I'm getting the impression we might be getting a couple of DS9 characters portray their DS9 characters on Lower Decks. If I had to put my money on it, I would say probably maybe Quark and Kira would be my bets.
Interesting.
Obviously,
because they would probably still be there.
Yeah, because you can't do Cisco. He's in the wormhole with the aliens. You can't do Odo because he's gone back to the Great Link or whatever.
And he's passed away.
And obviously, Rene Auberjonois has passed away. You can't do Rom because obviously the actor's passed away as well. Didn't O'Brien go off to be
he went
Starfleet Academy or something? He's gone to teach engineering at Starfleet Academy. Worf went off to be, was it Federation Ambassador to Kronos or something? Or
yep. So he just, because they take place, Lower Decks takes place like right after Voyager gets back, I believe.
Yes.
So all the people would still be there. I mean, like, it would only be like a year or two, or maybe less than 5 years.
Yeah.
From when Voyager returned to the Earth. So there's some people would still be there.
So all you could really do in terms of cast would be
Garrick.
You could do Garrick, you could do Kira, you could do Quark.
I think Bashir went somewhere.
Yeah.
Bashir left. I'm pretty sure. You could do Ezri Dax if you wanted to, but I don't think they might.
I think it would make more sense that you'd think Ezri's probably gone off to serve on a starship somewhere or whatever.
Ship. But Garrick could still be there. That would be to get Andrew Robinson back. I mean, he still does the circuit, so like he could still do it.
I think those three are our highest likelihoods. I think Kira, Garrick, and Quark I reckon, are the most logical choices.
I'm sure we'll get other ones too. Martok.
Oh yes,
Did you see
Martok's
was
in it. Yes, that's right. Yes, we saw him in the trailer. So you obviously. J.G.
Hertzler.
Hertzler. Yeah,
Something like that.
I know. I'm never quite sure of the pronunciation of his name. Yeah, he
Yeah.
popped up in the previous season as another alien race.
Right,
but
right,
yeah,
right.
good to see him as Martok. There seems to be a Klingon centric. I think there's a clip in the trailer where our lower deckers are wearing all kind of Klingon cosplay kind of stuff with Klingon weaponry and everything. So I think it's probably going to be a Klingon centric episode.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see is the a bit more backstory about Rutherford's implant. There was kind of things hinted at the end of last season where maybe his memory's been erased, maybe it wasn't his choice to get the implant. Some surreptitious, Section 31 kind of agency has kind of done it and erased his memories of or altered his memories of having it. So I think finding out a bit more information about Rutherford's implant, I think, is going to be interesting. What are your thoughts on that?
That's going to be like one of the focal points of this season is going to be what happened with his character and how he got the implant and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll definitely see that. I hope we see some of the funnier characters too. Like I hope we see Badgie again.
Yeah,
he comes back.
Badgie. Oh no, we're obviously getting. I'd almost rather. I mean, I know Peanut Hamper's coming back, but it's like I'd almost rather have Badgie than Peanut Hamper. There's more scope with Badgie's somewhat psychotic personality type that you can play
definitely
on. I wonder whether we're going to be getting any new characters in season 3.
They've done a good job with that, introducing races that like the what are they called, the Caitians, like that's what Dr. Ta'ana is, bringing back races that are kind of more difficult to do in real life than in animated form. So yeah, I'm all up for that. And I think I saw that the character that Jeffrey Combs played, I think he's coming back too.
The psychopathic AI
robot
robot or whatever.
Yeah, I think there's a frame where you see that. I see that too. So we get to see him again. I really hope he shows up on Strange New Worlds too.
I'd love it. He's such a great actor, and I think his characters, no matter who he plays, are always. I mean, from Brunt to Shran to Weyoun, they're all really.
Yeah, he could be on DS9 as Brunt, or that would be awesome to have him show up as Brunt.
Yeah.
What did he used to say? Something FCA.
Oh yes,
Liquidator
Brunt.
Liquidator.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'd be really funny. So I hope they do that. But yeah, I'm looking forward.
If they're getting him in to do crazy computer AI voice or whatever, then they could easily get him to do.
Yeah, might as well. It's just
Hey, can we get you to do Brunt and
30 more minutes? Right.
Yes.
It's one more check for him. I'm sure he doesn't mind.
Yeah. I think they've also said we're getting a little bit more history and backstory about Tendi as well, and her Orion backstory as well, and learning a little bit more about how she maybe came to join Starfleet and a bit more about her history and all that sort of thing, which could be interesting as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think they, they went into the Orions a little bit in Discovery, but that's so far in the future that we don't really know. That's another race that, popped up on the original series. We didn't show that we don't know too much about. After the original series, we thought that was, it was ruled by the men. And then we learned in Enterprise, it's actually ruled by the women. So yeah, I think there's a lot of meat on that bone if they want to flesh out some storylines. So I'd love to see more about the Orion on not just Lower Decks, but on Strange New Worlds as well.
Yes, absolutely. I got the impression, whether it was from something that Mike McMahon tweeted or something Jack Quaid tweeted, that we were going to be getting some sort of a reveal about Boimler's family or Boimler's genetics, like to imply, like we've kind of always, I guess, assumed that Boimler is human, but we also see him obviously with purple hair and slightly paler skin. So does this mean they're kind of going to reveal something in terms of Boimler's genetics that implies that he is, isn't, that he's sort of half human, half some other race or something? Because there is obviously some differences visually with his character that could potentially point towards that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be real. I remember hearing that too now that you mention it. That would be really interesting. I think they said too that his doppelganger or whatever would make another appearance this season.
Oh, the one that's serving on the Titan. Yeah.
The
transporter clone. Yeah.
So I think we're going to see more of him too. So yeah, I mean, I think, Jack Quaid, his star is just rising. So I'm sure that Paramount is so glad that they got him when they did, and that, they got him, like, I think when the boys had just started or maybe even before that. And he's just a great ambassador for the brand, for the Star Trek brand. I think that, having him on a series like The Boys And then on Lower Decks, I think like you're going to get some people that check out Lower Decks because of that. They should just do whatever they can with him and make him the face. And I think Mike McMahon is one of the best creators that Star Trek has working for them right now. So I'd like to see more. I'd like to see him have more shows. And I hear that we're going to hear about 2 new series. You know, Star Trek Day, rumor around the Replicator is that we're going to hear about 2 new series coming out. We'll see what those are, but I would love it if they gave Mike McMahon another series. I mean, I don't know. I know he's got a couple animated series as well that aren't Star Trek, but he just gets it. Like he's a fan. He's a good writer. Like I think just give him whatever we got, whatever we got on the boiler, like just give it to him. I think you'll do well. So I'm looking forward to that.
The first thing you think about in terms of if they're going to reveal new Star Trek shows, obviously the first one that comes to mind is the Section 31 show, with Michelle Yeoh, and the other one I think has been talked about is a potential Starfleet Academy show. But I did hear an interview with Kate Mulgrew saying that she was very, very happy to embrace Janeway's return to Star Trek in live action. And it kind of leads me to believe, in the absence of Star Trek Picard, as that show has run its course, whether Kate Mulgrew has kind of watched it and go, hey, this is a really good concept for picking up a character later in their career or whatever. Has Kate Mulgrew made some kind of deal with Paramount to reprise her role as Janeway in live action, perhaps? Are we possibly going to get a Star Trek Janeway? What do you thoughts on that?
As a fan, I would love to see it. I don't know if Picard was well enough received. I mean, I know they still have another season. I think there's more people probably in like the normal audience that like it compared to like the critics. I don't think that Picard really has been as critically acclaimed as we would like to see it. So I don't know if coming out with like a Janeway series, it becomes like Rocky. There was Rocky, and then there was Creed, and now there's going to be Drago. I think that every time you kind of dilute it a little bit. So I don't know if bringing back, like just having a show Janeway, like there of course would be a lot of excitement about it. It's almost like Picard might keep it from happening, just because I don't know that Picard, checked enough boxes to necessitate like, okay, let's bring another character back and focus on them. I think that, having her already back too on Prodigy, I understand that that's a totally different fan base. Yep. Like that show's for kids and stuff like that. Have her back maybe as part of an ensemble. But then, of course, it's the same thing as Prodigy. Then it's just in live action.
After Star Trek Nemesis kind of didn't do that well at the box office, I always remember reading that the plan for a follow-up Star Trek feature film after Nemesis was always going to be a combined film. So they were going to actually feature characters from Next Generation, DS9, and Voyager.
And Enterprise.
And Enterprise, yeah. So
the Enterprise people spoke. Anthony Montgomery actually is the one that spoke about it at the Chicago Star Trek convention. But they actually, when they signed their contracts to be on the show, they signed a 7-season contract that had an option for 2 movies in it when they all signed on to that show. Yep. Like you said, they were going to have a movie with all of them, but because of Nemesis, it fell through.
Exactly. So I wonder whether that as a concept ever kind of got kicked about again in the head office or whatever, as to whether or not that, particularly with Picard and everything, where obviously some of the moments that hit us in the heart most are obviously when we've, brought back the legacy characters and they've had the little, reuniting moments and all that sort of stuff. So whether they're, analysing concepts of that and say, hey, let's look into bringing back legacy characters, but in a broader sense throughout, multiple series or something to that effect.
Kiva Goldsman, I think, brought it up, an anthology series idea, or even a mini series, like just anthology stories, just a different Star Trek. And basically the way he pitched it was to give characters that didn't get their proper end a complete ending. Yes. So like with Picard, like we got a better ending I still think it's a better ending for Data.
Absolutely.
I think it's a better ending for Seven of Nine too.
Yeah.
That her kind of evolution. I think even Riker's evolution in Picard, I like. So he definitely did that. Picard kind of worked like that for those characters. I would love, an even if it was like 8 episodes, because I know it would be hard to do, like, because you got to get new sets and new characters and new, everything for every episode.
Even doing it as although
something
these
like
days
that.
with the volume and everything they use, the AR wall and everything, you could do a set digitally or whatever. Then all you need to do is have a couple of chairs, and you could digitally put a bridge around them or whatever. And there's a lot of things they've been doing. Like that engineering set on Strange New Worlds in the volume is really well done, I think, and I think there's more scope to do bigger things and have more scope because of that AR wall they've got going on there. I think obviously budgetary would, bring back certain actors. I think probably the larger ones would obviously be maybe a budgetary issue because of their
COVID, you got to worry about too. Yeah.
But I think certainly, as you say, there's certainly people who didn't get a good ending with their character, i.e., like Trip Tucker, for example. I think would like to see a better resolution for characters like that. Star Trek series that they're potentially going to come out with, which is the Section 31 thing, to be quite frank, is probably out of all the ideas that have been thrown around, the one I'm kind of least excited about. It's like, it sort of feels like a little bit to me like, I'll watch it, but is it the Star Trek series everybody wants to see?
I think it's definitely not. I think it's Section 31 would not be, going to a different bottle. I think it would be serialized, or it might not be. I mean, but I think that it would be a darker show. There are different ways they could do it. I mean, they could do it a comedic way, but they could do cool things too. Like you talk about Trip Tucker. Like, how cool would it be if Trip Tucker like showed up in the Section 31 episode, like the first episode, and he's like the head of Section 31 now, or something like
somebody
that,
went through time and snatched him away before he died, or whatever it was.
Right.
Yeah.
So there is cool stuff they could do. I think one of the pitches I heard was that it would be almost like a recruitment show. Like it would show like them going to like different, kind of like how Janeway picked up Tom Paris and like, going to different like characters that were like thrown away from Starfleet, or, something's wrong with them, or they did a crime or something like that, and kind of recruiting them and stuff like that. Almost like a Suicide Squad, I guess, kind of plotline. Which I think could work because Michelle Yeoh is amazing. I mean, no, just that I think it's interesting that, they're going to go with Strange New Worlds and then Lower Decks. So they're going kind of with their two funniest, properties back to back. And then I don't know what we're supposed to get next. I think maybe Prodigy.
If I had to put my money on it,
and then probably starts the cycle again with Discovery.
I reckon Picard will probably start, because I remember season 1 for Picard started at the end of January, and I think season 2 started in February, I think, from memory. So I reckon we're going to be getting Picard in end of January or February sometime next year, which then puts Lower Decks 10 weeks on from August 25th. I reckon we're going to be getting Prodigy before Christmas. I don't think we're not likely to get anything else, I would think, before. Picard's the next newest show off the ranks after Lower Decks and Prodigy. So yeah, I think between now and the end of the year, I think it's going to be all animated Star Trek content, I would say.
Yeah, because Picard, they filmed season 2 and 3 together. And Discovery, they didn't do that.
Both Picard and Strange New Worlds have both all completely shot their new seasons, whereas Discovery is shooting right now.
Right, you're right. So Strange New Worlds.
Yeah,
too,
so Strange New Worlds is all done and shot. So it looks like we're going to be getting Picard first next year, and then followed by Strange New Worlds, and then probably Discovery season 5 after that.
And then whatever 2 new shows they're going to announce in a month. I mean, it'll probably be a while. I think they're going to announce the 2 new shows, and they've got to have a movie announcement. Like, they haven't said anything about the movie for a while.
The Kelvin Universe movie,
I've seen some reports where, like, I heard there was a rumor that went out that Chris Pine has signed his contract. So I don't know where that stands.
There was like a Quentin Tarantino Star Trek script or something kicking around, or something to that effect. I think that.
Yeah. Oh, they were trying to. Yeah. Whoever the alien woman that was like white with like black tattoos, not tattoos, but they're trying to bring her back.
Well, I think it would make most sense because obviously Anton Yelchin obviously tragically passed away.
I
think bringing her back to fill his position would be the most logical choice, I think.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, but yeah, hopefully we see an announcement about that. Lots of good stuff on the horizon.
Lots of good stuff on the horizon. Absolutely. Well, thanks, Eric, for having a chat about Lower Decks and Star Trek Day and things all coming up in the world of Star Trek. Great to have you on the channel, and we'll talk again soon.
My pleasure, Nick. Have a good one. Always a good time.
Guys, be sure to leave a super thanks if you're able to. Really helps the channel out. Like and comment. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. And check out my merch in the merch store. Great bargains there and some really cool new designs. I'll see you soon for my next video. I'll see you then.